right, welcome to the Old Stoney's podcast right here on TalkcastPDX. Yours truly, Justin, along with Matt Crissione.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, we're here in the TalkcastPDX studios. I don't know what. Oh, my phone's on. My phone's on, so we got a little reverb.
Let's not do that.
My bad.
Let's not do
Sorry.
that.
I just have it there for time, and it was
the-
on, so I don't know. What are you gonna do?
You're supposed to be the professional.
Pre-show kind of messed with our ritual.
Pre-show was amazing, so I'm on my point.
So we'll just jump right in. We've been waiting to have these folks in the studio for quite some time. We have Elbe and Hovering from Elbe's Edibles. I'm excited. All the goodies are in front of us. I might get caught nibbling during the show.
Right on. Hey guys, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
appreciate
thanks
it.
for coming.
Matt's
so
gonna
nice
nibble.
to see people again.
No,
Matt's
the
gonna
studio
nibble.
is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Last time we saw you was up on stage.
Yeah,
At the Cannabis
Club.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is really nice. It's really nice to be
I
here.
miss the Cannabis Club.
Oh, us too.
Yeah, I know, Mike. We
Yeah.
hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah.
What a
Oh,
great
Michael.
time that was. Yeah, good
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it's sad that that's not there.
Hey, this is sweet.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Other
you,
than the
thank you.
fact we can't smoke in our building, other than that, we're good. We give enough joints out around here to homeless folks and whoever
Right.
needs them. They see us walking, they're like, "Oh, we're gonna follow that guy
Right
he's
on.
gonna probably hand us something later." But
Right?
the Old Stonies are here at TalkcastPDX. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at the Old Stonies, and also follow TalkcastPDX on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And we're live right now on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
God, that's a lot.
I mean,
Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Hello.
The
I told you I'm
millions
over
of people
50.
out there.
I know about 3 of those things that you just
Right,
mentioned.
right.
But I'm going to learn them all.
I turn the big 50 tomorrow.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Welcome to the club.
I'm almost the same weight I was when I graduated from high school.
Right
But
on.
I'm
Good
not as
dropping
fat. I was way bigger. I was like,
Right. Right.
and now I'm just kind of fat. Dad bod.
Dad bod.
I'm fine with it. I don't care.
Right.
Did you ever think when you turned 50 that you'd be in the legal weed business?
No.
Did you ever think
I
it'd get
thought it would be legal
legalized?
at some point when I was 21. Let's just use 21 as a reference.
There you go.
21. I thought, yeah, someday it'll be legal, but not yet. Not going to be I didn't think I'd see it in my lifetime.
Right.
Right.
I thought it probably won't happen. It'll probably be relaxed, but it probably won't ever be legal. I'm still waiting on that federal part of it.
Right.
That, to me, that's what really.
Could be some big changes there. I mean, each of these jumps has been a big change.
Yeah.
You guys been
I
holding out
think-
for the federal thing for a while now.
11 years we've been doing this.
Yeah. Tell us about your 11-year
Yeah,
journey.
11 years. Tell us how it got started. I always,
Okay.
we always get together and we
Right.
bullshit about all
Right.
this stuff, but I really want to know, what did it fucking take to start this thing back then?
A complete accident. And I will
Oh.
tell you that we are probably a dying breed of people who accidentally got into this business or just kind of wandered into this business. Everybody that we compete with and are on the shelves with, they probably came into this with a much different idea about what their business was going to be.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We had a photography company and we grew weed because Hub had, we were medical patients. Hub had a
Nice.
blown out collarbone. And then my best friend's mom got cancer and we started making food for her.
Mm.
And so she just kind of encouraged us to keep moving forward and make it for other people. We went to a potluck for mamas. These 2 kids wandered up to us and said, "Hey, you should bring this to a medical dispensary." And we didn't even know what a medical dispensary
Right. But
was.
What are
this
you
is
talking
back in
about?
the day where you could literally just show up and say, hey, I have this.
Well, they came to us and they said, "You should come and meet our boss, Bo." And we were like, "Okay." We had a business. And so,
Right.
but we met him and he's like, "Listen, there are patients who need this. Can you put it in a package? Can you put a label on it?"
Mm-hmm.
Because it's really good. And our patients need this. And we were like, okay. And so for like 3 or 4 weeks, we made it for Bo's, for the Brothers Cannabis Club.
Yeah.
And one
Yeah.
day we were driving in our
Brothers,
car.
I remember that.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say,
that
I
was our
remember
very
Brothers.
first, our
Oh,
very
wow.
first situation was with Brothers.
So
That's
cool.
Yeah.
I think they were possibly the first safe access point in Portland, or maybe one of the very earliest ones. in
Right. They were
Oregon.
more of a club.
They were
type
totally-
thing.
all,
yeah.
they all
Where
were.
it was
They all were
retail.
clubs
There
then.
was
Yeah.
no dispensary
That was the only way you could
system.
do it.
We called them safe access points because it was places for medical patients to access cannabis in
Right.
different forms.
And then we're still very much in the black market days where you have to go meet some dude in an alley.
We were
and
meeting
you
people in their apartments. We
Yeah.
were meeting them in parking lots because they
And
were
you don't-
afraid. They didn't want their kids to know that they needed edibles. And these were really sick people.
Right.
So again, this was all an accident. And
desperate
then,
people. You know?
desperate. And then the more people we met, the more we kind of just felt a calling. And there was a day when we were driving over Mount Tabor, and I just looked at Hub and I said, I don't want to do photography anymore. I want to do this.
Yeah.
And he said, okay. And that was silly.
Right on.
And so then we were just doing medical, and we were helping people. And we got a patient who one day walked into our kitchen and handed us a very large check and said, you should do this. This is what you two should do.
Wow. An
And
angel investment type
An
thing.
angel investor. And then who's still our patient. We still take care of her, of course. And
Oh, that's amazing. That's
we have all
awesome.
of our patients that we started with back in the medical day. Either they're no longer patients, but if they're patients, we're still taking care of them. That's
Right
part
on.
of our life. And
That's
so that was
awesome.
an accident. And then Hub was out delivering edibles, and he went to Puddletown, and he walked inside, and he's like, and we've been for years saying, if you know of a place that we can build a bakery, we need to build a bakery because we're doing it out of our home.
But this
Right.
this was back when nobody would lease
Nobody
to
would
you
rent
for
to us.
cannabis.
Right.
Nobody
Dirty
would,
drug
like,
dealers.
It was drug, yeah.
You want to put drugs in cookies? What kind of monster are
This
you?
was, you could not get a commercial lease. There was no commercial space. If you
Right.
did, it was a super shady situation.
Right.
I mean, I had
Yeah.
literally been looking for, I think, 2 years.
We had
And
people
then
take money from us from deposits and then not let us move in. Like, it was really crazy times.
There's
And
nothing
so
you could do.
nothing you could do.
Like,
So anyway,
Right.
you're at
You
Puddletown.
go to the cops and like,
Right.
this shit's illegal, right?
Right,
You guys
right,
know
yeah.
this.
And so Hub was at Puddletown, and he was saying this out loud to the manager there. And this guy leans over. He's like, well, I've got some property, and a guy moved out last night. And we're like, what?
He had driven by that day and noticed
Wow.
that the tenants had just vacated.
Just
And
broken their
and
lease.
so
Huh.
we were
Wow.
like, we got to go look at this.
What a
And it was
twist
a
of luck.
dump.
Is this the current location? you guys are
Yeah, it
at?
was a garage.
It was a garage.
Yeah.
And there was people illegally living in there.
Oh my God.
And so then
Whoa.
Hub and the person who has helped us find investors and contract work for us took me over to the coffee shop and said, this is the chance. If we're going to do this, we're going to jump into this dump, and we got to raise a bunch of money, and we got to get in at it.
Now,
Wow.
super high rent.
Oh,
this is
ridiculous.
this is also pre-measure 91.
Yeah, but this wasn't even legal
so there
yet.
was no recreational. And we
Right.
had to
You guys
look
are.
we had to look at this and say it's possible that we can only be doing medical out of here for
Yeah.
however
Years.
long.
Yeah,
But we
and you
knew
guys
that-
could be walking a plank at this point,
Oh,
just
totally.
walking
We had
up
already
this.
received
Yeah.
letters from the federal government telling us to cease our business because we were federally illegal. And we were in the one county that said we will not co-sign on that, because they were sending letters to all the counties saying, if you have people in your county doing medical recreation and making a living from it, we're taking them out.
Yeah, we're going in.
And our DA said we're not doing that. So that's why we were never out of Multnomah County until it was legally
Right.
okay.
That was your
Wow.
little
I didn't know
cocoon.
that.
It was the
Because
only
we were
safe
tiny.
place to operate.
Wow.
And
I
it was,
didn't know that.
it was the
Yeah.
only DA in the state of Oregon that did not sign on to the federal threat letters.
Wow.
And
In fact, we
so-
had a copy of that letter on us because we knew that we could have somebody bust through our house at any moment. So we kept that letter on us. We kept it in the car. It was our only kind of protection.
Right. But
Right?
you're still dealing
Peace
with a
of
lot of the
mind.
old school police force, and
Dude.
I'm sure those DAs signed on to those things.
And
in
also
a
there was-
heartbeat,
there
going, oh
was-
yeah, we're not doing this.
So again, accidental business, but it was a ride. Like that was back in the days where you would drop off your edibles and maybe you'd get paid and maybe you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a lot
Yeah.
of chances back there, and you just kind of kept pushing forward because it felt like the right thing to do.
And fortunately, we ran into somebody. We didn't know how to build a bakery or clean up this garage,
Sure.
but we ran into a restaurateur here in Portland who said, "Hey, come try your recipes out on my restaurant floor during a shift
On a
s-
Tuesday
and,
at
and
6.
see if they will convert from a home kitchen to a
Whoa.
commercial kitchen."
By the way, that was the Salt Restaurant. Shout out to Marcus because he
Right
let me
on,
come
guys.
in the middle of a busy shift. I'd never
Wow.
used a convection oven. I'm a home baker.
Right, you're a
Yeah.
homemaker.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not
But
trained
we
to
had
do
to
this,
know
but I
it's
had to
like
know,
the
can I
recipes.
do
It
this?
just seemed like, all right, let's see if this is going to work.
Everything like that was somebody lending a hand, pushing us forward, saying, you got this. We got advice from another
That's
chef
awesome.
who said 2 bits of advice. Never, ever, 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 ever quit. And we haven't.
Nope.
And then the second part of the advice we haven't quite yet. He said, don't make yourself the most valuable asset to your company because you have to get away from it once in a while.
Yeah,
We're still working on part 2.
We're still in day-to-day operations.
Yeah, we're still doing all the.
So-
We're still custodians.
So
Right
the
on.
start happens. How many years did go by where you didn't feel like the front door was going to get kicked in anymore?
I still feel like
You still feel like that?
Sure, we're still federally legal. I still can't get a bank account. I still can't.
Yeah.
My employees
Right.
can have their bank accounts shut down because they work for me. My employees can't get a home loan. One of my employees tried to get a home loan and can't because she works for me. Like, at this
Yeah.
point, it's still not legal. It's still not fair. So I'm not stay awake about it, but I also live by, well, what does this administration have to say about who I am?
Yeah. So every 4
and during
years,
the pandemic, I was a hero, and now I'm back to being a drug dealer. So it's what day of the week is it? What month is it? What's the political feel? And so you have to kind of ignore that and just stay focused on the mission. And for us, the mission is to be kind and make really great food. That's our mission. That's our entire mission
killing
statement.
it on those 2 fronts.
Well, thank you. We're trying.
For sure.
The kindness goes away sometimes when we're tired.
Yeah,
we get a little salty.
As politicians start to realize how much money they can make and stuff from cannabis, that you'll gradually see, because the greed will take over.
Well, we
for sure, it's
think
gonna
so.
happen.
The greed will take over, and it'll be like,
it is falling faster and faster.
I mean, look at what's
than we
happening to
ever
the alcohol
imagined. It was this slow thing, but it's an exponential curve.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to hit that point. It's going to go federal, and then there's going to be interstate, and then there's going to be like country to country export.
I'm hoping
I have
that
a
I live
different
that
view.
long to see that.
I have a different view on this.
Okay.
As
I want to hear you.
As a queer woman, I have spent my life at 75%. And I think that the cannabis industry is treated like that because of alcohol and because of tobacco, right?
Yeah.
And so as a queer woman, 75% has what I've been allowed. And that's what it feels like in the cannabis industry. You're about 75% okay to be in business. You're about 75% of an adult, 75% of a business person. We take you about 75% serious.
Right.
And I can tell you it feels real familiar.
Yeah.
And so while I have hope that those in power will elevate us, I feel like it's not a priority.
Well, because they have no experience in what you're feeling, because most of them are male.
Right.
So they've already been 100% validated, and whatever business ventures they've decided to go into have been also 100% validated.
Right.
I get that. It's a very good point.
And so I think, sometimes by being marginalized, you allow it to keep going on too. And so I think the cannabis industry also allows us to be marginalized because we make bad deals, because we do business with people who wouldn't do business with us.
Right.
I won't stay at a hotel that won't do business with somebody in cannabis. People go to Las Vegas and spend money in the cannabis industry down there, and they won't let us do cannabis events in their hotels.
Yeah.
That seems really short-sighted.
And there's some stuff that the alcohol and tobacco people have access to that we would absolutely love to be able to participate in, but we don't get treated equally.
I would like
on that front.
I would like to see the big players, the ones who have made it big in the cannabis industry over the last couple of years, making tons of money, just printing money, and
Is that happening?
Well, I'm just saying there's some big companies that
I know there are
have
2 or
been
3 people
infusing billions of Canadian dollars. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
All over this country.
Right.
Because the Canadians know it's going to happen. It's nationally legal there.
Sure.
It's going to happen here. They'll make a shit ton of money, a bunch of loonies in their pockets. They'll be feeling pretty good. They're willing to take that loss and shell out $500 million, whatever, for companies that have built brands and done well and done things. And that's good. That's commerce. But I want to see those people spread the love.
Well,
spread the message. Look, everybody in this industry is not equal.
Right.
There are impropriety, things
By the
that
way,
are bad.
I would encourage all effing industries to do that.
Well, that too.
Reach down, you successful pig.
I agree with
Help
you.
some people in your craft, you little piggy.
I'm specifically talking
right?
Yeah.
But yes, no, I listen, I agree. And we can't offer that. We're not a giant corporation. We're a tiny mom and pop. But even inside of our tiny mom and pop, we are thinking about the future of cannabis all the time.
Yeah.
I am not hiring employees. I am training cannabis owners. I am training cannabis managers. I have somebody in my kitchen who turned 21 2 months ago.
Wow.
She was born in the year 2000.
Yeah.
What she's going to be able to do in cannabis or with cannabis if she decides to when she's my age, and we'll have a little tiny help with that. So if you do think about that as a company, you can help now. You can help even if you're a mom and pop. But yes, some of those big people that could help.
I just want to see it. I mean, my parents were always big giving back. You know, whatever percentage my dad set aside was, hey, that's to help, those who don't or whatever. And so I would just like to see that more in business in general.
You're right.
But specifically the cannabis business, because we have a pretty good diverse group of people in this industry. But yet
we're not
represented.
I will say
it's
this.
Getting kind of whittled down.
I can tell you that 11 years ago, I knew almost every edible maker in Oregon. I don't know any other edible makers. I know one or two, maybe.
Yeah.
And there's hundreds of them out there, right?
I know. And I keep track of, the legacy ones that I know about were the ones from the medical days when I started in this industry. And then there's everybody else. And it seems like there's thousands more coming online.
But one of the problems in this industry is because we can't gather socially and consume our own products, how will we ever sit down in an industry and help each other? Yeah. How will we have communal, like if you work in alcohol, you just sit around a table and you drink and you come up with new ideas.
Well, again, that's what I was saying. Right? Alcohol has a lot of liable liberties that we're just not allowed to participate in. We're still locked in our house.
If we're allowed to sit around a table at a business meeting and smoke a joint because that's what helps us creatively, why are we not allowed to do that?
Yeah. I mean,
like that's part of our business. And when I work in food, I get to taste food all day. If you're a soulmate, you have to taste wine and alcohol.
Right.
I'm not allowed to do that for my own bakery at my bakery.
Yeah.
That's
just crazy.
Bonkers. Where am I supposed to develop my recipes? How am I supposed to do that?
Yeah. Back in the day when we had these black market access points, you'd walk in, they'd have the dab rig going. If it was your first time in. My first
dab rig was in a dispensary.
Right. And you go in and try some of the stuff out, and it was perfectly you could definitely handle taking a little bit of a taste of cannabis and being able to walk out, like a wine tasting or a beer
medicated
tasting.
Medicated bites every Friday all over Portland, all over Multnomah County.
Like little 10 milligram bites.
I handed them out
and
everywhere.
Put into a little cup.
Yeah, that's what all this started with. Yeah,
and we would.
Yeah, you should eat some.
Yummy.
We'd get them out there every Friday, and so patients could go in and try things and see what worked for them and see what they liked. And so we were able to educate people, and we're not really allowed to talk about the medicinal stuff. On the rec market. So.
Let's talk a little bit about what you guys are doing currently now.
Yeah, because everything else is a bummer.
I know it's kind of a bummer. Ooh, lemon cake.
We haven't brought any new flavors out this year, I don't think. The big changes are coming up in January. There's going to be everything's going to 100 milligram doses. So
when is that starting?
I'm not sure. They don't
January
have it.
1st.
Is it January 1st?
Yeah, I know they were kind of like they didn't really announce it, but look at that. I hope the camera can get up on
it.
That's the chocolate. That little camera right there.
That is my favorite, the triple chocolate cake ball.
Absolutely.
He'll hang on. He's switching the camera. There you go.
That thing is so bomb.
Man,
yeah, we're trying this right now. So this is very much a handmade.
Oh, everything's handmade.
Homemade, and you're homemade.
Listen, we take the dough out of the bowl and we weigh it and we roll it with our hands.
That's the best.
We call our girls the ballers, and we celebrate that they are really talented in the hand arts of rolling balls. We make all the ball jokes all day long.
Yeah,
divvying these up.
There's certainly.
I'm just looking at all of them.
Certainly,
that was delicious.
Thank you. Thank you.
There's craft to it for sure. We actually, we pay people to actually make our food. We don't have any machines. We've got mixers, but
I still make all the food that's on the shelves. I've made, and so that's pretty fun too. That's
birthday cake.
Birthday cake bomb.
That's a 50 milligram.
That's
a 50 milligram.
That's a birthday cake.
And so the cake balls were the 15 milligram, and that's a 50.
That's 50.
We brought that out on our 10-year anniversary last year.
Wow.
As a kind of celebration of that.
Well,
and so.
I'm excited to celebrate my 50th birthday with a 10th anniversary birthday cake bomb.
1 milligram for every year.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I might not come into work tomorrow, everybody. Just saying.
You'll
be fine. That's a great thing about edibles. You can do anything on
That's
them, right?
right.
They don't.
I'm Superman.
I feel like that.
I got a question for you guys. How many miles have you guys driven to deliver these things because you do it all yourself. There's no distribution.
I'm going to let Hovering break down the delivery route for you, and you will cry a little bit like I do.
So there are 4 major routes around the state every month, besides what we do locally in the metro area. So it's 3,000 to 4,000 miles a month driving around the state. We go to kind of all corners almost.
Right.
We're out on the east side twice a month. We're down the coast.
Okay, he's being modest. He drives to, let me just say this. He drives to Ontario twice a month.
Wow.
And back.
Oh, yeah. I got friends that live out there, too.
And one of those trips, he goes to Ontario, and then he goes to Burns, and then he goes to Bend, and then he comes over Mount Hood and stops in Gresham on his way home.
Curious, as we get closer to the Idaho border, does business pick up a little bit?
I think so.
a little bit.
No, there's 13 or 14 dispensaries in Ontario.
It's
how many?
It's a small town with a big thirst.
I think how many dispensaries are there? Like 11?
I think they're at 8 right now with a couple more.
But they have 13 licenses. They're all
this is like a population.
How many people live there?
Let me tell you that
I
have
got to be less than 10,000.
I go over about 2 or 3 times a year, and every single time I go over there are lines out the door.
It's like the early days here.
You sit in your hotel and you can look down at a line of people at 8 p.m. that are trying to get in the dispensary still.
You would think the Oregon coast, and the Oregon coast does pretty well. It's like Oregon coast, Portland, and but it's the closer you get to Idaho, man, they're thirsty.
Well, let me tell you, that's because half of the state was short-sighted and said that their residents didn't want any weed.
Yeah,
like 80% of Eastern Oregon is red. They don't red meaning we're not allowed to sell anything near that area.
I found out Republicans smoke weed too.
I'm not talking red blue. I'm talking about the state map. It's just crossed out that you may not sell weed here.
Right.
There's red lights. Yeah.
But yet they want your tax money.
No, they don't get it.
Good.
But they also want to, the ones that are getting it, that voted against this, they want to increase, they tried to increase taxes last year.
Yeah,
they tried to get up above that main 17% or add on to that because each county has that optional to get it up to 20. They wanted to bring it up to 25 because they see that these other states are doing sales tax and cannabis tax, and they would like Oregon.
It's already at this point
they want to get it closer to 40%.
Do you know what happens though is that the businesses then end up completely losing because the dispensaries are going to need your product to be cheaper, and cheaper.
And it can't
cheaper.
And
pretty soon I'm paying you to sell my thing.
And ultimately, the higher taxes get to the point where people just don't vacate their old sources. It just perpetuates a market that's unregulated and untaxed.
It's hard to convince somebody.
If you didn't have these huge taxes added on, then you would have a lot more people moving into.
Well, think about the grocery industry. I mean, you have to have margins, right?
Yeah.
You can't run a grocery store on 25% margin.
Right.
Your products. I mean, the weed industry runs on a hot, sometimes maybe 150% markup, but it has to because the taxes are so much.
Well, that's why.
But that only works for one of the licenses,
right?
Yeah, but
because the people selling it can do that. But that means then I can't sell my product to them for what it's actually cost me to make.
That's what I'm saying. We got to get to that model of
we have to have an understanding that we're all in this together. The farmers, the processors, and the retailers all need each other.
Yeah.
There has to be a point of understanding that, but it's hard. It's hard because I get it. Their taxes and our taxes, and
you want to bring people on a tour of your facility. That can't happen. You can't go to a farm and go sample the goods out there like you could to a brewery. You can't like Deschutes or something.
Before getting licensed, we threw some pretty nice parties at our facility.
Yeah, right? I remember the New Year's party right before legalization. This was going to be the last blowout. That was amazing because we left and then came back for the food.
With a foot-long joint at one point.
Yeah, the good old days.
That
was
that
one
party
of the best parties.
That party was only for bud tenders and owners and managers. It was only for industry people. No, nobody else. And it was the last really good time I had in cannabis. The last time we got to eat. We had games. We smoked our ass out. We had these great games. People were so engaged and having such a good time. And it's heartbreaking when we look back on those pictures. We had brunches where all the breeders and the farmers would come in, and people would sit around tables and make partnerships and meet each other for the first time. And maybe a beef would be squashed, right? Because we're sitting there together smoking weed.
Yeah.
But all of that stuff gone.
And remember that this whole industry came from a bunch of outlaws,
right?
I mean, we by law and so there were beefs at back in those days. And growers that used to get on stuff feelings, or clones might get swiped and show up.
Oh, you
some
changed
another
the name
grow,
of this, or you took the lady. And listen, I come up from a family of black market growers, and it's hard business. You're trying to survive, and you're trying to make sure your family's bills are paid when the odds are against you, right?
Our nug swap that we did, that was a nice little throwback to that.
Time.
That was a good birthday party little
oh, that's true. Down at the basement?
Down in the basement.
Yeah. That was a good time.
That was a micro scale, though. You guys
caused some controversy because people were consuming wearing their own logos.
Yes.
Again, so not as much
fun
Mom
stepped
in retrospect.
up and said, hey, by the way, I saw what you did.
Yeah. Which is some...
But we got to get... The consumption is so key to any market.
It's all we care about at LB's, really.
Where we could really be... It's the start of everything.
Did
tourism, cooperation.
I can't offer a hotel to put my cake balls on their menu. Why shouldn't your hotel want my cake balls instead of a joint if that's what you're worried about?
Have you been asked?
Oh yeah, but we're not allowed. I went to the Hotel and Restaurant Association.
So there are people that want to do this in the hotel industry. That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
Sure.
Allow it.
Yes,
I don't
Jupiter has a little package that encourages cannabis without actually letting you buy it.
You need to go to the dispensary and pick it
fill.
up.
Here's a pipe. Go fill.
They're being hands off with it because they have to be.
And other towns are doing that, and that's something we definitely want to see, right? Why wouldn't you want that at your hotel? Why wouldn't you want somebody stoned at your hotel instead of somebody
room service
dropping a whiskey bottle in the lobby, right?
Bring back room service.
Right?
Bring back room service.
Rogue Breweries has this farm down in Enterprise. It's a hop farm, and you can stay in the farmhouse.
Yeah, it's cool.
And participate in the whole type thing.
Right.
It'd be awesome to do that in a cannabis setting and have the kitchen right there and be able to like a working vacation. You couldn't even do that right now.
So we need to be looking at the other states that are getting their consumption laws put through and model something off the other states.
Dinners in California.
Yeah. Well, in California and New York has already built social consumption into their new laws because they get it. People, where are you going to smoke a joint in New York, right? Yeah. Where you're going to make somebody go down from the 52nd floor down, and then they're going to go on this. Really? You think that's going to work? It's not going to work. And so it seems like the state is so afraid of cannabis still. And it doesn't matter how long we've been doing this or how well we've been doing this and how much we've proven we're not trying to be jerks about it. It's still treated like a hazard waste material.
Right.
Just so crazy. Like let me just explain to you a little how crazy it is. You've worked in restaurants.
Oh yeah.
If I burn cookies and I need to waste them from the state, let me tell you what I do.
Oh God.
I have to get a container out. I have to break up all the cookies. I have to put dish soap and salt on them. I have to put a lid on it. And then I have to stick that mess in my walk-in for 48 hours so the state can see it sitting there before I can throw it in the garbage can.
Wow.
I mean, it's a fucking cookie. Oh, sorry.
You can say fuck.
Oh, okay.
Fuck all day.
It's just a cookie with some fucking weed in it. It's so crazy to me that it's that minute of control, which means you have no open thought to anything about moving this industry forward. If you're still cranking down that hard, that means you're not trying to encourage the business to open up.
We're not looked like as business owners who are going to do what's in the best interest of being safe and being in business and not wasting stuff or not diverting stuff. Or
we are guilty first.
Right.
Guilty first.
You'll have to prove yourself innocent.
You're assumed in other businesses that you're going to behave to make the business successful in a lawful way and be a good.
I'm hoping that changes like we see with the increase in the milligrams and the ability to walk out of the store with 2 ounces now. I hope it doesn't take 6-year increments for these changes to happen. I think as people either get replaced on these committees and boards that have a little bit more of a modern mindset, or they just start relaxing a little bit. I know
it's not what we're seeing though. We're seeing that the people being replaced are being more conservative.
I think they're waiting on the federal thing, and once the federal thing comes into play, then they'll say, "Okay, now we don't have to prove to our daddy that we're doing everything right to keep everything federally safe. But,
well, it was silly of Oregon to go 5 milligram doses and 50 milligram cap when the other states were already at 10-100, and we set ourselves
Colorado's
up
been doing it forever.
To do half of what the other states had shown.
We're the state that every drug is legal except cannabis that's legal.
Yeah. Did you hear the Washington drop metric?
Yes,
I mean,
I was just
metric to the curb
because they should.
If you guys ever go onto a farm,
time-consuming
waste of plastic.
Not only that, I think a farm has a couple big bags of weed.
Yeah.
Every fucking cookie,
I know.
Every cake ball, like the amount of blue tags that we have to use is so silly.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I
mind-numbing.
Running oil, I'd have like 23 to 30 tags.
There's no way to run a business when you have that much clogging the arteries. You're just you're spending all day doing paperwork instead of making food or delivering food or making sales calls.
I was just talking with our Chief Technology Officer Gretchen about that today. That like she hadn't heard it, and metric being dropped there, and they're writing their own software, and they're saying it's going to be simpler. It's not going to be as convoluted.
Poor Gretchen.
And granular.
Hi, Gretchen.
Hi, Gretchen. You have a nightmare job.
But hey, we're going to be watching Washington, and hopefully they can come up with a software program that's looking good. And Oregon, metric was sued by Oklahoma.
Yeah, I saw that.
Really? I missed that.
Yeah, so we've always known that lawsuits were going to be the thing that moves this forward. And so we're tiny, right? So we're waiting for the lawsuits. We're waiting for the Unfair Business Acts. But you can only wait so long, right? And so I think one of the things that Oregon, by limiting us, one of the things they've done is lost some really great producers, right? Some amazing farmers, some amazing craftspeople. I don't know how long I'm going to stay in this industry because I'm so frustrated with it. And so why wouldn't another state want my skills? Why wouldn't
they are. They're starting to cherry pick us. We're starting to see.
And I'm not interested in moving. What I'm saying is that's really short-sighted of a state that wants to be known as craft wine, craft alcohol. But you want to lose all the people who started this industry and whose families have been doing this for generation upon generation upon generation.
Yeah.
Like it seems very silly.
Would have the Willamette Valley grown like it did the wine industry if those people who planted the grapes and did all this and they were just like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah. It seems crazy to me, but
it would have never happened. And now you look at the thriving industry that is there. The same thing can happen for cannabis.
Yeah, except
I would hope that
you can grow cannabis just about anywhere now.
I know of 3 farmers who have left the state to go farm somewhere else.
Yeah, we do.
They're like, okay, I'm out of here.
Ohio, I heard it's a lot different out there.
Mm-hmm. Kansas,
I don't know.
No, people are like actually paying attention and learning from the mistakes before us, and Oregon learned from a lot of the mistakes that were made up in Washington. We looked at it really closely. We were involved in the rulemaking, and so we've been involved with the process since before day one. And so,
that's why it's so disappointing.
I think that the newer states are watching what goes on, and they're going to be a little more streamlined, but they're also, super limited licensing, vertically integrated, like the chances.
The huge purse you have to start the game.
The chances
were talking
for
earlier,
real
these big,
innovation
companies
aren't
are coming
there.
in.
Yeah.
And, that's what we're for. We're for like innovation. Let's find like new ways to.
No way could a couple like us start in cannabis anywhere. I don't think anywhere in the United States.
Could you do it now today? Shit, right?
Listen, I'm going to say this. All of the politics aside, I have been able to create a product, and Hovering and I have created the craziest kind of work ethic and bond in our relationship. We have helped employees. We met Gretchen Palmer. All the people we've met in the industry, that has been worth it enough. And I'm being very sincere when I say that, because that is the only benefit to being in this industry.
It is.
It is the only benefit, because we're still not getting paid. We're still not being treated fairly, and we're still not treated like adults in the business. And so I better be happy about my relationships and my product and the people I've met along the way.
Yep.
And that's what Oregon's offered me so far. And that's what the sad truth. So we're going to keep fighting it, because I want to be able to sit here and say to you, I would encourage a woman in Oregon. I would encourage a student to go to culinary school to do that so they could get in this industry. But I cannot today say that I would recommend you going into the cannabis industry in the state of Oregon.
Yep.
I cannot say that with my heart.
I would have to agree. I've been telling lots of young folks, bright-eyed, they come in, it's like, I'm in the industry. They're like, this isn't a career yet. It's a cool job.
It is not really
quite
the majority.
There are some exceptions within certain companies.
I'm just saying
obviously,
that, look, if this industry was fucking serious about getting things done, I wouldn't see job offers all over Indeed and all this for bud tenders for $13 and $15 an hour. I feel like it's a slap in the face. When I started, it was like $20 an hour, and you got parking paid. You made good money. But I feel like it's getting less and less pay for bud tenders. It keeps going down. Just a few years ago, it was like $19, $20. Now it's $13, $15 if you're lucky, but it's $15 if you're in Portland. I just think that if they're selling that much weed.
So you think that we're not getting the quality of employees because they're not offering?
Not always, because there's people like me that take the job. I take the job.
Right.
I take it. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that you could probably pay those people, another $5.
This is what I'm going to tell you. I've learned from this industry.
I've seen a lot of that.
I have no fucking idea if anybody's making any money in this industry,
right.
And I'm being serious.
Yeah, seriously.
So I don't judge any employer in this state because the fees that I have to pay just to work in the state every year, I have about $18,000 I just throw away every January in licensing. Right?
Portland duplicates
everything that the state does. The same.
You're paying double.
Fee.
You're paying double or twice.
Our Portland license is over $3,500.
Right.
And any other business,
and there's no taxes we can write off.
$500 for any.
Alcohol, their business licenses are like about $500 to $750. $5,000 to make a fucking cookie.
Right. I mean, and
every
now
year.
You guys could move out to Hillsborough, get out of the, but you stay loyal
can't do that.
To the city.
The state wouldn't allow us to do that unless we already had another facility built and running to move our license. So you got $1 million?
Jeez.
Right. So
let's make it tough.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, but let me say something. As a business owner in this industry, we are not allowed to make a fair wage, which makes it very hard to pay a fair wage.
That's true.
If you look at the taxing, I mean, you got to kind of look at it like
you saw our truck out there.
You got to look at it like Instagram.
Right.
People are putting on the shiniest face because they're selling product. Right. What's happening behind the scenes in any cannabis business is a fucking struggle every day.
The businesses that I've been involved with.
Everybody sees all this product going in and out. But what it takes to move that product and track it every step of the way and have all this extra security.
I'm going to tell you guys a dirty secret.
All these.
Ooh, a dirty secret.
Here for a dirty secret.
We're going to end with a dirty secret.
One of the reasons that Hub and I still love self-distributing, and I mean it's really hard, as you said, a million gazillion miles, is because very often still we get behind that door with another owner and we see them and they see us. And this has been such a fucking hard struggle to make it in this industry that we hug each other.
Yeah.
And we say, well done. And then we go, how you doing? Sleeping much? Nope. How you got any employees showing up on time? Nope. How's that? And you just go through the list of all the problems in a really gallows humor way, because this is still an experiment and we are failing in Oregon. I'm going to give us a big F for not supporting the businesses in the right way, not treating us as really, truly valid businesses. And that causes undue stress on owners, which causes undue amounts of money going out. And that allows us not to pay fair wages. That allows us not to pay the farmer's fair, not to pay the edible maker fair. And it just goes on and on and on. And the consumer, bless their hearts, they still want weed for free.
Yep.
They are not treating weed as also a product. And I know that's a very unpopular opinion, and I'm an owner and I probably shouldn't say that. But the truth is, you'll pay a certain amount of money for a Starbucks coffee, but you want weed for way less than that.
Yeah. Well,
that weed had to be grown and it had to be picked and it had to be,
right.
All the things.
But these people don't get to see a farm.
Right.
They'll never, ever get a chance to
it's the snake eating the tail, right?
They think the weed just magically appears.
Right. So the dirty secret is owners are still crying behind the doors. We're in this because we love it, but it's really hard. And, we're still in it because
And if you guys aren't in it, the only people that are left to be in it are these big, huge box conglomerates, and we sure as fuck don't want that.
Well, we'll definitely keep fighting for what we believe.
We're not going to the Walmart of weed around here.
Great cannabis.
The thing is,
that's what started it here in Oregon was great cannabis.
Yeah, and that's what our program's always been about. Great products, good people.
You guys are sporting the doghouse hats. That's like we use all doghouse flour and sugar leaf in our edibles.
Know your grower, right? Know your grower.
Know your growers. Support your growers.
We are using the best quality cannabis in Oregon in our edibles, and it's one of those things that. Our relationship with John and Doghouse go way back, and we're super fortunate. That,
Doghouse has always been on my personal top tier list. I mean, it's just the
buy their
stuff they come
flower
out
anywhere.
with. Anywhere you find it.
Yeah.
Also, be a consumer. Often a lot of us that work in the industry, we have plenty of weed around us. Go into a dispensary, shop. Go incognito. We just did it this weekend. Hey, it was a trip.
I love that.
I'm a medical grower. We have the best edibles in the state.
Right. He grows the best weed I could ever want to smoke.
We've got access to everything, but I shop in the shops. I love supporting the shops. I love supporting the farms that I like. I buy by farm.
I still get a kick out of bud tenders who are so enthusiastic to help you. There's certainly some cynicism out there, but there is a whole bunch of bud tenders in most every dispensary that we work in, and they're enthusiastic and they want to talk to you about weed, and they want to tell me about the experience they had on my edible. And that is, I live for that because it's the one thing that has been really lost in cannabis. Cannabis has always been a bridge. It's always been a way to sit down and talk or love or connect.
Right.
And then everything got blown away with all the rules. And so these little moments in the dispensaries and these little moments in the back rooms with the managers, that's our bridge still.
Right.
We can't smoke together, but we can try to we can talk about smoking together.
I would like to challenge customers out there. Try something new. When you guys come across something that's, a little bit of a smaller company, and you're used to doing your $1.50 edibles, try something that's made with something a little bit more craft. And I'm telling you, you're going to have such a different experience with
You'll love it.
You'll
never look back.
Right?
You'll get it and you'll be like, holy shit, that was
I never want to smoke butter, but I don't want to eat oil. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I want to eat my butter, and I'll go ahead and I'll smoke my oils every once in a while, but I'm not eating that stuff anymore. It just doesn't do it for me.
It's a different experience.
Yeah.
Elbe and Hovering, thank you for coming here and bearing your souls and talking about the struggle that is real in the cannabis industry.
We didn't even get to talk about the current state of affairs.
Or
what happened, we know
what happened in Kenosha.
Oh, Kenosha. Okay. I told the story last week, but I was just going to say I was in Kenosha and I finished breakfast. I was in Wisconsin, forgot where I was. I walked outside, lit up the joint.
Oh, no.
And all these people are looking at me, and my wife said, what are you doing? You're in Wisconsin.
Our wives don't do cannabis.
I just casually reached down and put it on my shoe. I was like, okay, let's go. But sorry, Wisconsin. I apologize.
It's nice to be in a place where we don't.
You don't have to worry about
on the sidewalk.
You can go loud, as the kids like to say.
Go loud.
That's it. All right, Hovering and Elbe, thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
Get out there and try Elbe's edibles. Try some Doghouse flour.
Oh,
Like we need to push that. Everybody knows. Get some Doghouse flour. And that's going to do it for the Old Stoney's podcast today. We went a little long, special time at the 4:20 start time, which was kind of nice.
There you go.
We have to do that
I like
more.
that.
Yeah.
And that's going to do it for us. Guys. Yeah, thank you so much.
Guys.
Thanks, guys.
I'm Justin.
And I'm Matt.
Till next time, keep on smoking.
Right on.